did not know that you'd be put into a coma.
Yes, you can. Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
Word is born. That's what happened to Michael Jackson. That's live, baby.
We live, baby.
Back at it. It's the freaking 4th, man, of July. We don't celebrate that no more.
Happy Juneteenth,
it's all,
everybody.
Yeah, happy Juneteenth, everybody.
Which was like a month ago, but
hey, it's Juneteenth all the way until today.
Yep. It's Juneteenth until we free.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Real talk,
there you
dude.
go. That's the way to say it.
But we got a special one today. We're actually not in the studio this time.
It's 4th of July. We're not in the studio. The studio is on hiatus for a moment. But we've said all our praise to Sneak. Hope he's doing better, and we'll get back in there in no time. But you know what it is. What it is. It's me. Was the cameraman Randall in the building. Got my boy Lami G in the building. Back again.
Yo.
Back at it. And this is Unpopular, man. This is what we do today on the podcast.
We got a lot of
man, it's so much going on in the news every day.
Can you give me a little recap on what y'all talked about in the last episode?
The last episode that went live, I think we were talking about the fact that having these conversations is creating the channel in order to facilitate change, for real.
Yeah. Okay. But then we're also talking about fucking hell. What the fuck?
We were talking about a few other topics that day.
Yeah.
We were talking about how we are losing a little bit of faith in what the next generation is going to be putting forward for us in the future, especially when they get put into positions to be like law enforcers or lawmakers.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you guys kind of freaked me out a little bit about that shit because, like, I'm not like optimistic necessarily. I'm more like a realist. Mm-hmm. I could see things becoming practical or not.
Yeah.
I still got a little faith in the youth a little bit and I say that because of us.
Yeah, actually, we do influence the youth. I think the problem is like it kind of goes hand in hand with like being a free thinker. Because I do think we need more free thinkers who think outside of the box, but it's be something with the way the new generation be free thinking. It doesn't have any critical thinking.
But here's the question: like, do you guys feel like as if like the younger generation is like, because you know how the world goes. Generations complain about younger generations being stupid and clueless, whatever it is. Is that a genuine thing, or do you think that the younger,
right now?
Do you think the younger generation is like actually stupid, or do you think that's just like us being older? Like, yo, these niggas are actually dumb as hell, and we're just saying that arbitrarily.
I would say, it's probably both. It's probably both. It's a two-way streak of the younger generation not doing enough to credit themselves on what they do actually know, and a thing that just comes with aging. As you age out of the old demographic that you used to be in, you see things differently based on how the new people might do stuff. And you like, I didn't do it that way. Well, why did they do it that way? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, well, yeah, because like that's a difference in like I guess you can say like demographic relativism, where it's like what they're doing now is just so much different, but it's relative to what we used to do.
Ain't it in our hands though?
It is, especially because we're the ones who are having the children right now.
Because you have to remember right now, we are still a part of the generation where we're still not really in like the mainstream control of political power. Most of us are still not in office yet.
Right. Did Gen Beta start already?
Yes. Gen Beta started, I think, this year.
This year, okay.
Gen Beta started this year. Yo, who comes up with these fucking generational names?
No idea.
Gen Alpha and Gen Beta is the next two after Gen Z. Like, who does that?
When I heard the name for Gen Alpha, when I heard the name for Gen Alpha, I thought it was very pretentious. Don't get me wrong, I can understand starting at
A and B.
A, since we just left off at Z.
But the name is just stupid.
I can get that, but we weren't really doing letters.
What was the first generation?
No idea. Let's look it up.
It definitely didn't start with no A.
Yeah.
It definitely didn't start with no A. I feel like they started classifying these as things in the 19th century. So like probably during like the Great Depression. I think that was like the silent generation.
Okay, so the first name generation was the Lost Generation.
The Lost Generation.
That's when they started like actually naming generations.
What generation was that though? What years was that?
Let's find out. Yeah, so it was first generation. I actually think that was like in the 19. Let me see.
Yeah, it was early 1900s.
Hold on a second.
1920s.
Hold on a second.
40s.
Because the 40s are.
I think it's 1900 to 1924.
Okay.
I believe.
About right. The Lost Generation.
That's the Lost Generation.
I think the one after that
is the.
I don't know. There was a lot of war going on at that time. You didn't necessarily get a new generation until you got like the baby boomers at like the 50s.
Let me see.
Who does come? That's a crazy name.
Yeah.
The baby boomers. Who approves this?
Well, the government.
Well, no. I mean, it was just kind of like common sense to name them that because that was when all soldiers came back from war and they were just having babies all day.
It's less of an approval and more of like the cultural slang at the time.
I don't even think it's that deep. I think it was literally a byproduct of like what they were doing after the war. Like everyone that was born in the boomer generation is a byproduct of the baby boom because people were having kids all day.
That's what I'm saying. But the government didn't regulate them saying that. They said that on their own accord. That's what it became part of the culture.
Okay.
Say that.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's for example, the silent generation is 28 to 45. The boomers are 46 to 64. My dad's a boomer, actually. Then shit, I didn't know that. Then you have Gen X, which is my mom, 65 to 80. You have millennials, which is 81 to 96, which is me technically.
What's 65 through 80?
65 through 80 is Gen X. It's our parents.
Yeah.
Okay. It's our parents. And then millennials is 81 to 96. So I'm technically a millennial because I was born in 96. Mm-hmm. And then Gen Z is 97 to 2012.
That's crazy.
And then Gen Alpha is, I think, 2010 up to 2025.
Yeah.
And then Gen Beta is now 2025, I think, until 2040. Mm-hmm. That's crazy, man.
That is crazy.
I feel old as shit. But that's relative. I'm about to be 29 in literally 2 weeks. So it's like...
Age is relative.
Yeah.
Age is relative. Word is bond. Kids will say you're old.
Someone who's 60 could be like, yo, I feel old. And like somebody 90 could be like, nigga, sit down.
Kids will say you're old. I will ask my niece. She will tell me I'm old.
Yeah, but David, she's like 6.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Age is relative.
It's like, who can...
Age is relative to how either old you are or young you are. I mean, you ever meet somebody? You ever like just get out of high school and you met somebody who's only like a year or two older than you?
Yeah.
And they call you a baby?
I hate that shit.
Oh, you're just a baby. You're such a baby. Like, bro, you're 2 years older. Like, we were in high school at the same time. What are you talking about?
David, my nigga, I be going to the strip club, bro, and I'm 28, bro. So I be going in there. Somebody dances in there is like 32, and I'll tell her I'm 28. It's like, oh my god, you're a baby.
You're a baby.
Bitch,
like we were in the same. We were in the same. We've been in the same high school class. Like
that's wild, bro. They can say that. And it's
definitely opinionated. Absolutely.
Yeah. And they're definitely only telling me that shit literally because of the fact that like I'm not 30. Like one of them told me like you're not really an adult yet until you're 30. It's like
people say that. People say that. Absolutely. Yeah. I've heard that before. Where the born?
Yeah, but you also heard you're not an adult until you're 21. You're not an adult till you're 18. You know?
And it'll be as old as you might want to feel now. It's an older person than you telling you ain't old.
Yeah.
You ain't did nothing.
Okay, all right. So so speaking of age, let's get into this conversation. So like, you remember how I told you that my fucking annoying ass coworker was literally trying to question the idea of the age of consent and legal age, and like the fact that 18 is like an arbitrary term, is an arbitrary age to like make someone a legal adult. Mm. So he thinks it's stupid. Mm-hmm. He thinks like, oh, people becoming adults when they're 18 is stupid, and he thinks that it shouldn't be 18. And he refused to answer the question of like, okay, so what age should they be considered adults? He didn't want to answer it, so I pulled it out of him, and he said 25.
Okay. 25 is ridiculous.
Yeah. But then he asked me, like, why should like an 18-year-old be considered an adult? Because their brains are not fully developed yet until they're 25 or whatever other bullshit.
Well, then you shouldn't be sending 18-year-olds to war.
I feel like
you shouldn't be letting...
There's a lot of restrictions, like... With ages, like
allowing 19-year-olds to smoke vape.
Remember, you couldn't be. You had to be 18 to buy tobacco or something.
Yeah.
But you had to be 21 to get liquor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, now it's like to buy tobacco, you have to be like 21.
You gotta be
26.
Now you gotta be 21 to buy tobacco. You gotta be 21 to get liquor.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only other restriction after that is like getting a rental car.
A rental car or like a rental place.
You gotta be like 23.
The rental car, rental place, and then like we go into government, for example, like you can't actually run for office until you're 26.
What? What?
Apparently, I looked it up. Apparently, you can't run for office until you're like 26.
That's gotta be
Thought you
crap.
couldn't run for office till you was 32.
That's that 35.
No, you can't
that's
be
the president.
35 to run for the president.
Yeah, but apparently you can't run for office until you're at least 26.
That's crap. That's crap.
I looked it up now. I might be bugging, but
because I know there are other states where there's probably a mayor and he's like 28 right now.
David, I said 26 is when you can become
I'm saying,
public office.
But
I'm not referring to
somebody trying to get into a position in any type of government. I would say needs a little bit more than 3 years.
Yeah, but David, like that's still not the point though. Like the fact that like there's a legal restriction where it's like, so at 18 you're an adult.
I mean,
hold on a second. Okay. You can go to war, you can get married, you can have David, you can have children at 18 if you marry your high school sweetheart. There's nothing stopping you from doing that, right?
Right.
But then to serve your community, whether it's through legal elements or whatever it is, you gotta be 26.
Yeah,
and then they're gonna say, oh, it's because you don't have political knowledge. Nigga, there are 80-year-olds right now in office that still don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, what you mean?
You think he know common knowledge now?
Like, he's 85.
If he's 80 years old, he probably think the rules ain't changed from 50 years ago.
It's not even a matter of whether the rules change. They literally don't actually know how to govern. It's not even a matter of like, oh, he's dealing with like 40s rules. Like, that's not what it is. He actually doesn't know what they're doing.
I think it honestly depends because I've seen examples of kids who come out of high school going straight into their board of education.
I've never seen that though.
Yeah.
All right, fair
I've
enough.
seen that for a couple examples of that.
All right.
People wanting to be involved and stuff and going straight to the board of education, trying to be up on the board.
All right, fair enough. I mean, I've never seen that though. But yeah, like that's where me and him were getting into this back and forth conversation where it's like, so why do I think an 18-year-old should be considered an adult? Because I can agree with him, and I know, yes, biologically our brains are not fully developed until we're 25, technically, but it's not like you're going to see like this huge change in your mentality when you turn 25. It's just more of like it just takes time for it to develop. But then I told him that like there has to come a point in time where a human being has to be let off the leash of their parents and be allowed to experience life on their own and actually have to figure stuff out without parental approval. Because like back when you were
I don't think everybody is at that point by the time they turn 18 and graduate high school. Well, most people aren't at that point.
But that's the point, though. That's the point. You need to just you have to be let off the leash to some degree, or at least get a little bit of length off the leash,
maybe
where you can actually
being an adult is like depending on who you're talking to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess I'm contradicting myself, but like, you still call your mom for help. You know, you still ask your dad for help. You might be a grown up, but like to them, are you an adult? You know, I don't know.
Well, like, age doesn't stop you from being somebody's child, literally.
Yeah, exactly. It also just doesn't stop you from learning from people that are older than you.
Age is also not a signifier of knowledge either.
Or maturity.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
but that's what I was trying to say to him, where it's like, yes, I get what you're saying, but like at the same time, even if they're not ready, you have to let them go at some point because at that point, if we don't let them go at some point, we might as well just keep taking care of them like into their 30s. Well, at some point, when does a human being get the ability to say, I can officially take care of myself and I don't necessarily need you, or I need to be in a situation where I'm kind of forced to learn how to take care of myself?
There's
so like at some point the parents gotta let go and be like, you know what, I'm not gonna feed you.
College is too expensive for that to be a test.
Yeah,
they gotta start teaching this and implementing this to kids way earlier. I feel like school needs to have I feel like school can have a bigger hand in it, in being integrating kids into
like preparing them for adult life.
and about simply like paying your taxes and knowing how to fill out a resume.
Yeah.
Knowing how to
getting a civics education.
Knowing how to vote.
Civics education. Yeah, exactly.
They got to bring back home economics.
Yeah.
Teaching kids how to cook something simple, use a microwave, know how to do your laundry and clean up after yourself. Like,
Yeah, but that's where people will argue that's the responsibility solely of the parents.
they used to teach home economics and teach kids how to clean and teach kids how to do laundry, cook, and maybe at the least, if it ain't cook or clean, it was like something else was in or like ironing or sewing, something like that. All of those were taught in like home economics
Right.
before in school. I learned how to. I was in a class where I learned how to sew a pair of pants. I learned how to cook a little cornbread muffin or something like that. And we had woodshop.
Yeah. I had woodshop. I had home ec. I had sewing class. I remember that. What else? What else did I have? I actually did get a life class actually in my senior year. I remember that. That actually was my favorite class because she actually kept the shit real, and she actually was like telling us like
I
the
don't even
actual
know if
reality of life.
schools do the little baby experiment no more, or make you take the egg home.
Dude, thing. When did hold on a second, Davian, I'm pretty sure they stopped doing that back in like the 90s.
I don't care when they stopped doing it, Randall. I'm asking why they stopped doing it because it should have been implemented. You sit here and stop teaching kids about the importance of what it is to take care of a child, and then you just have kids in high school having freaking children because they don't know no better.
And they don't know what they're doing.
That's what I'm saying. When did they stop? Why did they stop teaching this? Because it was obviously an important lesson that kids ended up forgetting.
And I do also feel as if, like, now you say that, like, maybe that also can that class possibly motivated or incentivized or gave people an interest to want to actually have kids.
Well,
I actually think that it might have.
It gave it. I don't think so. I think it highlighted the importance of it. I think what incentivized kids to have babies was shows like 16 and Pregnant and Teen Mom.
Wait, to have them or to not have?
Yeah, they glorified what it meant to be a teen mother.
No.
Shows on MTV.
All right, David. Like,
Teen Mom and 16 and Pregnant.
No. I see your point, David, about that, but I'm referring to like people like wanting to do it like the actual correct way, like getting married and having families or whatever it is, not just like fucking and just getting pregnant.
Well,
I'm not saying that
class would have taught the importance of what it is to take care of a child and how to do it properly.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying though. So like I feel as if like that actually played a part in why people stopped wanting to have kids because that it wasn't exposed like that anymore. Because somebody said in a video one time where you have to train.
To it. All they start teaching you now is about STIs and safe sex. That's what they're showing you now.
Hey, speaking of STIs, I actually remember when they changed STDs to STIs. It was back when I was like a senior in high school. I remember that shit.
I think STDs is still a thing.
No, it's
STDs
STIs.
and STIs. I thought they were different.
I thought they are two different things. Yeah.
No, it's
D is for diseases and I is for infections. I think those are still different.
But the thing is, most things, most sexually related diseases are like basically just infections that you can actually cure to some extent.
But some of them are diseases that you stick with and carry that around for the rest of your life. Like
huh?
I said some are considered diseases and they're things that you carry around with you for the rest of your life, like luggage.
No, yeah, I understand that, and one of the main ones obviously is HIV. What's the other one that you're stuck with?
Herpes.
Nah, well, it's only because everyone does have herpes. Everyone has it to some degree. The symptoms are so mild we don't feel it. Yeah, I think like 80% of people have herpes.
I think it's
just the symptoms are so minimal.
What's the other one that doesn't go anywhere?
That's a wild statement that I just said.
HIV. That's not AIDS or HIV.
But it's real though. It's actually true. I looked it up.
Gonorrhea and chlamydia are both infections.
Syphilis?
Syphilis you might keep with you. I don't know. Mm-hmm.
You see, and David, here's a dumbass question. Like if we're about to go into this topic.
Go ahead, yeah,
so like, how do some people like who have it or even don't realize that they have it? Like, I can understand possibly if you're let's say from like I don't want to be fucked up here. If you're from like a third world country, you don't really have access to medical care like that,
sure.
And you're walking around with it. It always boggles my mind where it's like, do you not like feel like a little off like about yourself physically and like you still do it, but then like someone like catches it, they go to the doctor and they're told like, oh, you've been had chlamydia for like 8 weeks, 9 weeks.
Well, I think somebody who would have it would probably know.
and they wouldn't like inform someone and they're like, hey, like
That would be,
just so you know, I have it.
That would be up to them, honestly.
Well,
that would be up to them.
That's only the case.
Disclose that information.
Yeah.
And to
that shit
after
illegal
that practice safe sex.
If you don't tell somebody that.
Yeah, I think it is. I think you can get.
I think that only applies for HIV though.
Something like that.
I think the other diseases, it's not actually illegal enforcement, but like HIV, like, you have to tell the person.
AIDS, you might gotta tell somebody
or something like that. Well, the crazy thing about it too is that, like, shockingly enough, like, because people, hear that stuff and they don't realize that, like, there are ways to like protect yourself from that. Obviously, abstinence is one of them, but then like
the science has progressed to where there's medicine to where you can take that doesn't allow you to transmit the disease, or that you don't your symptoms don't. I don't even know. I don't pay too much attention to the commercials when they come on. But
what commercials are you looking at?
These are just commercials that come on the TV when you watch TV.
I have never seen a commercial like that
about it's all HIV or AIDS medication. About how you can take something and then not transmit it to your partner.
Right.
That's how far science has progressed
now. And people actually can have kids, like, if they take the medication and not transfer it onto their kids too.
I think as well. Yeah. Something like that.
That's crazy though. Like if you even go back to like the 1800s, like that wasn't even a possibility. Even for like regular diseases, if you had like the flu or whatever it was, like, and you back in like the 1800s, like you probably could have died.
You would die from the flu in the 1800s.
You'd be 100%. Dead instantly.
100%. You probably died from worse shit.
What about the common cold?
Common cold has killed so many people, and it still does every year, Randall.
Yeah.
Word is born.
But that's crazy that like people's immune system even nowadays are still that weak, whether it's genetically or because of like health choices that they
get sick. Common cold ain't no pushover. Don't think it's just it's a common cold. You get a little sniff. No, the common cold will beat you down. Word is born. Common cold will beat you down and give you something else. Like.
Because I was talking to my friend about that too, where we were saying that, like, back in like the 1800s, 1700s, like lack of modern medicine, shit like that. Like, bro, like if you broke your leg back then, like you were basically dead.
Oh yeah.
Like you were gone.
Yeah,
you broke your leg, you broke your arm. You have to just walk around like
pouring some liquor on you and
just put some dirt on it. It's like whatever.
Just put two little 2x4s on the side of your leg.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like actually repairing it. Like if you broke your leg, it was more the infection you were gonna get from it.
Yeah,
that would have killed you.
You were gonna lose your leg. Yeah. You was definitely losing your leg.
Yeah, like, and the thing is, how often do you think that actually happened?
Oh, often, until a lot of this mainstream medicine got approved. Like, I can't imagine all the types of stuff that happened before we had penicillin. Word is born.
All right,
people still talk about penicillin to this day. They don't even think they use penicillin.
It definitely happened in war.
And what did penicillin? Well, penicillin cured what?
Penicillin was like everything.
Or treated like what? Okay.
Pain, ain't it?
Yeah, it was like penicillin was like everything. It was like a liquid, but it was like your Advil, your cold medicine. Like it was everything.
Yeah.
Your stomach hurt. There.
And then you think about other countries and like people that don't have access to this kind of stuff. It makes you like really recognize your own privilege and shit.
It's just not as the outreach isn't all there.
What do you mean?
Like somebody in Africa might have a similar condition to somebody that's over here, but I can walk to the hospital and it's only going to take me 30 minutes, or drive there and it's going to take me 5. Like, they might not have transportation to get to the hospital or to where the doctor is, and they might got to walk. That should take them like 5 hours.
It's just not even like worth the walk.
It'd be like that sometimes. Yeah. Like, imagine being faced in that position. It's 5 hours to the doctor. I'm sick to the mug. Like, I don't even know if I can make it there. Like, so I gotta die.
Like, you might die on your way.
That's what I'm saying. Like, imagine being put in predicaments like that.
You ain't got a cell phone. You asked out.
Yeah.
You gotta call the ambulance.
Imagine you gotta call the doctor to come to you. Word of bond, because you can't get to him.
That's just a little terrifying. That's one of the reasons why like I never like hospitals and doctors and shit. Because like
Hospitals still freak me out a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, you worked there for like 4 years.
They spooky, man. They spooky. Where's the ball?
Why?
If you in any part of the hospital and with like no lights on in the dark,
it's like a horror movie.
Word is born. Everything is making noise in the hospital. Everything is making noise. Everything is unsettling.
My sister just graduated from community college right now. She's a nurse, and she actually works in the psych ward in the hospital.
Okay.
And she told me like over we were having her celebration dinner, and I remember her telling me the story of where apparently she got assaulted by a guy who was schizophrenic. Like some guy actually hit her.
It happens like that sometimes.
Yeah, and apparently because now I think like in the law they can sue, but my sister is like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like I can't sue him for anything because he has nothing to give. He's psychotic. So
you gotta think about it like that. Like I've spent enough time working in the hospital to look at like the psych wards a little bit differently now.
Like the people in it?
Some of these people are not really crazy, yo. Sometimes these people just had a bad day. It literally don't take you to have a bad day and for somebody to not understand you and throw your ass in the psych ward.
It really be like that?
It really be like that. Mm-hmm. Word is bond. Sometimes you just having
and you talk to them or like...
Yeah, sometimes you can speak to them. Sometimes they're a little out of their mind and doing a little extra crazy stuff.
They put you in a psych ward when you're drunk.
You know, they might. Word is bond.
How do you know that?
If you don't have, if you're,
I used to work there.
If you're, he used to work at the hospital too. But if you're, you're only really in the psych ward if you're a potential harm to yourself or other people.
Okay.
So, if
that can also be
drunk. If you drunk and you say, "I'm gonna kill everyone,"
yeah, they're
gonna put your ass in the psych ward.
Well, that seems understandable though. Obviously,
he might not really be going to kill nobody.
It's just more of an expression.
He's just frustrated. Yeah,
it's just an expression.
Yeah. Where's the bond? You might be having a bad day. And you're losing it, and nobody's trying to understand you. They're throwing your ass in the psych ward.
Have you guys ever seen like actual like psychotic patients, like people that actually kind of like freak out and stuff like that?
I've gone to rooms and seen people banging their head, or I've gone to rooms and like clean stuff off the wall because people be drawing on the wall and shit.
Okay.
Like,
I'm curious, like
people who just stand I know with 1,000-mile stare. Like,
I know this is more like in movies or whatever it is. Like I'm curious about like that like those padded rooms and shit. Like are those things even real, or is that like from like a psychic
those
institution?
are psychic institutions. Yeah,
okay,
those aren't going to be at the hospital. They do take precautions at the hospital so that people don't hurt themselves with stuff. Like there's no. I think the mattresses are made a certain way, so you can't like take anything off of it. They don't have they don't have like glass mirrors in there and like that.
Because they'll cut themselves. Because I remember my sister was telling me that like the guy that assaulted her apparently
most things have like soft edges, so people don't try to bang their head on something.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, my sister was telling me that like the guy that hit her apparently, the guy actually came in on a stretcher like in cuffs, like cuffs to the stretcher and shit, and they had to let him. They had to get it off of him because they had to pick him up to take him somewhere. Right. They had to give him a shot, and that's when like he swung.
Yeah,
or some shit like that. But yeah, that shit is crazy though. That like you see people like that, and you don't really know what's going on with them.
Sometimes it just takes the opportunity to ask. Probably ain't nobody but asking them what the frick is wrong all day.
Well, I don't think you need. I mean, like,
it's just the opportunity to get somebody to explain themselves and for them to change their perspective in their mind because they're probably losing their shit in there. Mm-hmm. And if you can speak to them in a way that allows them to express themselves in a constructive way rather than destructively. It helps for their condition.
But I do also think that like sometimes just being in that area in that room and isolated from other humans like is obviously going to make you a little more psychotic. Where like you have no one to talk to. So
yeah, I mean you're not that far away from other people. Like
they get their medications too, though.
Yeah,
so that helps.
That does help.
You know.
What if they don't want to take it though? Because
they can refuse.
And they got
hospitals can't make you take medication.
They got like social hours, recreation time.
They're not going to let you be isolated in your room all day, especially if you're if you're supposed to be, like in, because you don't want to be isolated to a bed. Your legs will stop working. Where's the ball? So you got to get up.
You said what?
If you're isolated to a bed for a long period of time, your legs will stop working.
All right, that's a little can't freak me out, but whatever.
If you,
I ain't trying to lose feeling in my
nah,
leg.
all right, for me, but I'm just trying to put the example in your head. If you woke up, right, your alarm goes off in the morning, but you didn't get out of bed, and then you didn't get out of bed for another 6 to 7 hours. When you stood up, your legs are gonna feel a little bit wobbly, just a little bit, because you were walking yesterday and earlier, so your legs will feel a little bit wobbly when you stand up. Now, in a hospital, if you're doing that for prolonged periods of time, your legs definitely might not have the strength to hold your body when you stand up.
Because your muscles are atrophied.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You got it. So they got to get you up and moving.
Say it like that next time.
They got to get you up and moving.
Say it like that next time. You just told me that like your legs will freeze or some shit like that.
Listen.
Your legs will stop working.
Yeah, they will. They're not going to be able to hold your body up. Where's Bond?
Yeah.
I just watched Kill Bill the other day.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because the lady was in a freaking coma for 4 years and had to get her leg and had to literally use her brain to get her legs to start working again. Took her 14 hours.
Damn.
That's that physical therapy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is scarier, guys? Being in a coma for that long, or what's that scary? Or let's say having like a mental disorder that's out of your control.
I think the coma would be worse.
The coma would be worse?
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
Just seems like time lost to me. I don't ever get that back.
Fair enough. I think I
sat in a bed for 4 years, and they had to nourish me through tubes, and they had to clean me every time I doodled it out. You know, I didn't talk to nobody. I don't know. Maybe I'm asleep, so maybe I'm just having a great dream for 4 years or whatever.
Oh, you know what? How about this? So how about instead of this scenario? So instead of the mental disorder, how about this? Let's say you either you're in a coma for a certain period of time, or you have amnesia. Which one would you guys take?
Coma.
The coma? Okay. For how many years?
I don't know.
How severe is the amnesia?
Huh?
How severe is the amnesia?
You can't remember. I'll be fucked up. You can't remember your friends you made in school. It goes that far back.
Okay.
You remember?
Do I know my name?
Huh?
Do I know my name? I'm saying you got. Tell me how severe the amnesia is. Do I know my name?
I'll give you that. You remember your name.
I remember my name, but I don't remember nobody else's name.
Yeah. You remember? I'll give you this. You remember your parents' name, but you don't remember your name.
I don't know my name, but I know my parents. That's crazy. That's crazy. I think I'll take the amnesia.
The amnesia?
I think I'll take the amnesia.
So, dude, if you get amnesia, and I'm trying to tell you that we're boys, we're brothers, and you're gonna be like, nigga, I don't know you.
Not all amnesia is permanent. Some amnesia is temporary.
Well, this one is.
Could come back. Okay. Well,
so I'm gonna get more fucked up.
I still think the coma would be worse because that's locking me in the bed for 4 years.
Yeah,
having to relearn everything.
What about the 4 years?
Too bad.
What about the 4 years, Davian? Like I planned something for you, or like you basically you've been in a deep sleep for so long, and I got a bag over 4 years, and now we good. You wake up, it's like, yo, my nigga, what happened? So, yo, we got it. That would you be more of a
that got everything to do with you.
Yeah, but
I gotta be in a coma and wake up to success. Nah, man, that ain't right. That ain't right.
It's not right.
Nah, you out here living your life. I'm in the bed.
yeah, but I still got some left over for you.
I don't know that's coming.
I make $1 million.
I don't know that's coming until if I wake up out this coma.
I make $1 million. I make $1 million in 4 years. You wake up in a coma. Next thing you know, I give you 3.
Like amnesia is a brain injury that made me forget some stuff. A coma is
me, nigga.
A coma is I took on such a debilitating condition that my body put me to sleep. My body literally put me to sleep.
At least you wake up
or they had to put me to sleep because my condition is so bad.
Wait, they put you to...
Sometimes they can induce you into a coma.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that work? I did not know that. Really? I did not know that.
Like, if you're... Like, I would think it works the same thing as, like, anesthesia.
So they just pump you with anesthesia all day?
No, it's probably not pumping you full of anesthesia all day. It's probably, like... They probably got something that's stronger than anesthesia.
What can be stronger than anesthesia?
I don't know. They don't tell me the list of the drugs they have in the hospital. I just know they work.
Well, here's in terms of drugs in the hospital, like, apparently there's like, I didn't know this. There's medical fentanyl.
Yeah, there's
medical fentanyl. I did not know that. Mm. What does that do?
What it's supposed to do.
That doesn't answer the question.
What it's supposed to do. Medical grade fentanyl does what it's supposed to do. Supposed to do, but it's still used in very small increments.
But David, I don't really know what it's supposed to do. Like, medical fentanyl, it does what to the body when you take it?
I don't know. Just look it up.
Like, and isn't there like medical heroin too, or no, or no, morphine, right?
That's morphine.
Morphine. I almost said medical heroin.
Morphine is
what?
Like
I'm wild.
I had morphine before.
Yeah, huh? Morphine is like pain medication.
I had morphine before.
Mm-hmm.
At the hospital?
Yeah.
Like they put in like an IV or something?
I think they gave me a shot. I don't know.
I remember Yana had,
but that shit's like
some type of oxy when she was finished with her surgery on her knee.
Yeah.
That shit had her fucking loopy.
Well, I know oxy is legal though, and oxy's like medical grade shit.
Let me see, medical.
You can't figure it out?
I'm typing in it. Medical grade.
But what was I gonna say? So like, David, you really got me fucked up. Like, I did not know that you'd be put into a coma.
Yes, you can.
Mm-hmm. I did not know that.
Word is born. That's what happened to Michael Jackson.
I thought he just died. Like,
he was using drugs and putting himself into a coma, pretty much. Like,
but it's also his doctor that did that, right?
Yes. His doctor was giving him the stuff. His doctor was providing him with the stuff. Pharmaceutical fentanyl is an FDA-approved prescription medication used for pain relief and anesthesia.
Pain relief and anesthesia. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But when you take too much of it.
Pharmaceutical fentanyl comes in controlled dosage forms such as injections, patches, lozenges, tablets, and nasal sprays. Yeah, okay.
You think?
So, but if you take too much of it, you die.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's why it's extremely important for it to be properly dosed.
And the dose is based on like height, weight, gender, whatever.
The dose is based on, I would think, what you would need it for. I think, and depending on the form of how they're going to give it to you.
How many times have y'all been put under at the hospital in terms of like anesthesia?
I've never been under.
You've never been under?
Never been under.
Ever?
Never had a reason to get under. So never had a reason to be under. So
okay.
One time.
One time?
Yeah.
How long were you out?
5 days.
Huh?
5 days.
5 days?
Sure.
What happened to you?
I fractured my skull.
Oh shit. Like you fell? You just like fell from somewhere?
I got hit by a car. So.
Off his bike.
Yeah.
Damn. I didn't. All right, my fault.
Cool.
sorry about that. Like,
cool.
No, I've been under like
I
think
was out for like 5 days.
Yeah, it was crazy. I've been under like 4 times in my life and shit. I think I was like fucking. I think the longest I've ever been out was like 8 hours.
8 hours?
Yeah, but it didn't feel like that. It felt like
no. It don't. Yeah, it don't feel like nothing. Whereas Bond, you be sleep. You don't even know you be sleep. They be like counting down from 10. You be like 9.
Yeah, 5 days. I felt like I was asleep for 1 day.
Fair enough. Mm-hmm. No, yeah, because that surgery that I got that lasted that many hours or whatever it was, like they put me under. It's like count down to 10. 10.
But by
the time I got to 5, my eyes closed for like literally I thought it was 2 seconds, and then next thing you know, some heavy-handed nurse slapped my shoulders like, "Yo,
wake up,
wake up, time to wake up,
wake up,
like
you're done,
you're done." like what the fuck? I looked at her like I looked at her dazed as hell. I was like wait, how long was I out? 8 hours. What the fuck?
Crazy.
And then she picked
like 5.
Camera stop.
Oh, camera stop.
You'd be like 6, 5, 4.
Sleep. And then your eyes closed for a second, and then she wakes you up.
Then I'm up.
But then I woke up. But then she picked me up and actually took me to like a little resting spot that they have in the office. I went to sleep for another hour.
I wonder why this just turned off.
I had to sleep for another hour because she said you're too weak to even be driven home.
Oh shit.
We have to watch you for an hour and then you have to sleep.
That's crazy.
That was wild. My dad was like sitting in the fucking waiting room for that long.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It wasn't a battery issue. It wasn't
With it, is that gone?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It stopped for some reason. It wasn't a battery issue. It wasn't a space issue.
It's fine.
I don't know.
So you
audio is running.
Oh, my.
No, I've never been under.
You've never been.
I've never been under.
All right. Well, good for you. Good for you. You never had.
I'm thankful. You know.
Wait, you never. Wait, you never had your wisdom teeth taken out?
No. I've never been to the dentist.
You've never been to the dentist?
Never a day in my life.
David, stop guess. That's a bold-faced lie.
No cap. No cap.
What is that? Scout honor?
Yeah, whatever. Cross my heart. Hope to stay here for a very long time and enjoy the rest of my life.
But you've never been to the dentist. I don't know if that's like a good thing or like that's just like flat ratchet.
No, I don't know what it is. Honestly, I should go to the dentist. The condition of my teeth is a lot better than other individuals who even have been to the dentist. Yeah, I'll get there eventually.
David, you damn near 30.
I know.
I've had 4 root canals. Trust me, my teeth are terrible.
I know how.
I have a great smile, but I got horrific teeth health until more recently. So you've never been put under.
I've never been put under.
Would you? Stupid question. Would you want to be put under just to see what it feels like?
I would low key be put under for no reason. Yeah, just to see what it feel like. I would do something like that. If I needed to get some minor surgery, go on, put me under. Go on.
Well, yeah. I mean, most surgeries you do get put under for the most part.
It depends. I've seen people get PICC lines in and only get local anesthesia.
What are PICC lines?
A PICC line is like a long-term IV. So instead of like, when you go to the hospital and they give you an IV, the IVs might be good for like 3 days, maybe.
Okay.
The PICC line is probably good for like a few months.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But they gotta like, I don't even know how they do it for real. But they gotta like put that sucker in you.
No, because like the one time I actually
put that sucker in you. It actually surprises me a lot on how they do certain medical procedures. Like my friend just got he had my camera just shut off on me again. It's all right. But my friend had fell like a few months ago or whatever, and he fell and he hit his head, and they weren't too sure if he had an aneurysm and then that's why he fell, or if he fell and hit his head and then had the aneurysm, but he ended up having like a little bit of a seizure at that moment. So they had to go in there to go and get the clot out. This is how they went in there to go get the clot out. There's like a tube, a long ass tube that goes in through your pee hole.
Oh my god!
Right, all the way up to your brain. And they put whatever in there they had to put in there or took whatever out. And yeah.
He was asleep for this?
He was asleep, yeah. He was definitely under.
Oh my god.
Under, but
oh my god.
Man,
what the
I
fuck?
didn't even know that they had a vein that went all the way down here and up here.
Yo.
I didn't even know they had one of them.
Bro, what?
Yo.
That is crazy.
I didn't even know they had one of those, yo. For real.
And he told you all this?
Absolutely, yeah. I went to the hospital to go visit him afterwards.
Bro, like, oh my god. Bro, you see, I couldn't stomach being a doctor in that kind of situation, be able to, like, to look at stuff like that, and, like, I couldn't stomach it. I would not be able to see that shit. That literally goes back to that Russian chick I told you about. That was a medical nursing assistant for a surgeon. She showed me multiple videos of like her and her team of doctors like post operation, like taking a photo or video together, and they're like covered in blood and shit. And she showed me a video of like a guy having open heart surgery being performed on him. Like she showed me a video of literally like the chest wide open.
I've walked into rooms that I've had to clean before. And they on the table working on somebody. Word of the bug. I've done it before.
Wait, they're on the table?
Yeah, I've walked into the room. Like I might be here to pick up a patient or like come clean the room afterwards. And I got open the door and they working on the dude on the table.
They cut the nigga.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Back because they're not ready.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Man. Yo, used to be a time. I used to clean up the rooms after they would do the procedure. I swear it would look like Batman was in there. It looked like Batman just finished whooping everybody's ass in there.
It was that much blood.
There was that much blood on the ground, bro. There's
never been like like
blood and it's like mixed with other fluids and there's like big old clots.
So there's been like bits of flesh.
Not bits of flesh, but like
oh my god,
hardy blood clots, like
oh my god, bro, I couldn't, bro. I shouldn't even be laughing at this shit, bro. I mean, like, just the way you're saying it is funny.
Yo,
bro,
I felt like
Batman was in there.
I felt like I was Batman. Like I had to deduce the crime scene that just happened because this dude just got murked. Like, where's born?
That's crazy.
That's exactly what the rooms used to look like.
So, David, do you think that you could be a medical student and like physically watch a team of doctors performing surgery, or do you think that'd be too much for you?
I think there's a limit for me. I definitely haven't reached it.
What could you see that wouldn't bother you?
I could see an open wound. I think if I saw somebody's...
That's child's play. Like,
I think if I saw somebody's bone, it might start to freak me out.
Okay.
But I don't think like a big gaping wound and a large amount of blood would get me off the rip.
Okay.
Depending on where it's coming from.
Yeah.
But yeah, once I start to see like somebody's bones, say I saw somebody's like muscles and veins, like what?
You couldn't stomach that?
I would start losing it, man.
Do you think now? Do you think it's like the fleshy bits of it, or do you think it's like actually like let's say the blood that's in it, like the red that kind of sets you off? Because to me, that's
red.
The color and like the fleshy like view of like the blood would bother me. Like actually seeing like muscle or like maybe even bone, that wouldn't really bother me. I don't think it would.
I don't think it's.
But then again, I don't know anything.
I don't think it's the blood. I think it's the parts, because I think it's the fact that we're like bodies.
That we're bodies.
We're bodies. We're spirits inside of bodies.
Okay.
And this vessel can go through a lot of different things, and it can break in a lot of different ways.
Which begs the question of like why is it like that?
It's just how we were made. We're no different than the battery and the computer inside of a car, pretty much.
Elaborate.
And the car is the body, everything we see on the outside. But what really drives the car and gives it the power to do everything it does is the computer inside of it, and the computer inside of it, the engine, and the battery. Everything connected in the right way to make it turn on, pretty much. The vessel, the car part, is the body, is our bodies. This isn't exactly who we are. We just inhabit it. And it's like if you were to open your hood up and see all the inside parts of your vehicle, you would see and understand how it works. Just like if you were to take an X-ray and put it up and see everything that's inside of us, you would understand how it works.
Yeah.
But it's like seeing all the stuff that makes your body work. Seeing that on that, it's like we know how it works, and that's why we keep it on the inside. We don't necessarily have to question it too much.
Never thought about it like that. Fair enough. I mean, I do kind of agree with you that, like, yeah, to some degree, because, like, I mean, I'm not really religious, but, like, the spiritual thing and, like, being in fleshy bodies, I think can make sense for the most part.
Well, even if I'm just speaking about like your consciousness, so you're like, instead of you being your entire being, you're more attuned to your brain than anything else.
Yeah,
your brain is a closer example to who you really are than any other part of your body.
Yeah,
I would say.
And
that's like the computer inside of the car, or the engine inside of the car. Like,
yeah,
it wouldn't do anything without that part of it.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, that just.
Yeah,
that I'm not trying to get philosophical.
No, and knowing how the junk works, like if there was a part of your body that didn't work, whatever, you would either understand why it doesn't work or do the work to fix it. But like, I'm gonna go back to the topic we had at hand, talking about blood and gore and being able to stomach that.
Yeah.
Like, knowing how all the parts of my body work. If I were to see that messed up or on the outside, that would probably mess me up.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's like, and here's a little bit of a side note, Davey. It's like, did you know that apparently, the jobs that actually attract the most psychopaths, for example, is apparently like doctors and like dentists, because it's people who cut stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like military, police officers, politicians, those attract a lot of psychopaths. But occupations that do involve a lot of cutting or using knives, apparently that is attractive to psychopaths. I mean, that makes sense though.
I can see that for chefs, individuals who work at a mortuary.
You think so? A psychopath works at a mortuary?
You have to have a certain stomach to be working around dead people all day.
And not be bothered by it?
And not be bothered by it. Absolutely.
Bro, but like that's gotta give...
There are some sickos out there who have sex with dead bodies too.
Yeah, necrophilias?
Yeah.
Yeah, necrophiliacs.
Gotta watch out for them suckers too.
Which is ridiculous. But yeah, like guys working at the morgue, I feel like when they start working there at the beginning, they probably have like a multitude of nightmares of thinking that them bodies are gonna come back to life and shit. Or they're sitting in there by themselves, like either at night or during the day or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Like they have to be like hearing noises, quote unquote. So like they think it's a nigga and they're moving, and they're the only one in there.
You gotta have a strong will to be able to work around dead bodies. I'll say it like that.
What about the not the forensic guys? What about the people that actually have to like clean them up? You know, like when they're being like prepared for their funerals, like
it's a mortuary assistant.
Oh, mortuary assistant. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I think I misspoke. I think I'm talking about morgues instead of mortuaries.
Yeah. Well, the morgue.
They're the same thing.
Morgue, yeah. No. Well, the morgue is for where they keep the bodies at like a hospital or at like a police station or something like that. Well, I don't think they keep them at a police station, but at a forensics lab, maybe. But mortuary assistants are people who deal with the body before they go out to the funeral.
Yeah,
I would say.
They gotta get all the organs out. They
gotta clean all the organs out. You gotta
clean up all the flesh.
Embalming fluid in there, like
embalming fluid. Yeah, stitch up the mouth and stuff like that. Yeah, you gotta do all that jazz. So yeah, you have to be kind of like dead inside emotionally to kind of deal with something like that, right?
I wouldn't say you got to be dead inside. Like I definitely watched this video of this mortician answering questions about what it is to be a mortician or whatever. He didn't seem like he was dead inside. Um, but he definitely says it takes a level of
Care and compassion or something or whatever.
empathy and understanding. I would say
Yeah,
because these were once individuals.
but they still are.
They're just not living.
Yeah, they're just not living, and that's one of the more interesting things about people that work in jobs like that. But yeah, they probably do pay a lot of money though to work in a job like that.
I think it does. Yeah, I know they
Yeah.
pay a decent amount for people who work in graveyards too.
I saw a funny video actually. It's like, would you be willing to work at the graveyard shift at the graveyard from like 12 to 8 in the morning, getting paid I think $300 an hour?
Yeah,
could you do it overnight?
I would do it.
David, I wouldn't let you do it.
Why not?
I'd be scared for you.
Why not?
David, if you told me you work in the graveyard shift, at the graveyard shift, David, no, I'm picking you up. Like, fuck out of here. You're not going out.
As many movies as I've seen, I'm more likely to run into a devil worshiper in the graveyard than I am a freaking zombie.
David, not happening.
Like, I'm more likely to run into somebody cutting the head off a goat than somebody crawling their way out of a grave.
Rising from the dead?
Yeah.
David, I don't believe that. David, like, if
we've never seen any examples of zombies, Randall. We've seen plenty of examples.
Have you seen people doing this shit? Just walking around with their phone? They're basically zombies.
Living dead. Not brain dead creatures of the day. But yeah, I'm more likely to run into a weirdo working here than as something actually sinister.
So who's to say that weirdo won't cut your ass?
Huh?
Who's to say that weirdo won't cut your ass?
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But I do work here now.
Damn it, doesn't mean anything. You ain't got a gun on you. You ain't got no gun. You ain't got no knife and shit, nigga.
$300 an hour? Shit, I better have a gun on me. $300 an hour? Shoot. I'm getting something.
You wouldn't potentially even think about getting nightmares?
And if I would feel some type of way, I'm touching my damn mic. I would feel some type of way about maybe carrying something home with me. Absolutely.
Carrying something home with you? What do you mean?
Yeah, like some dude who didn't finish his earthly business in the graveyard. Some soul who didn't finish his earthly business. Now he got to follow me and haunt me at home.
But yeah, like
something like that.
Yeah,
that's
no way.
I'd be worried about old Greg coming to haunt me in my house because he don't got nothing better to do.
But here's the thing about those: like when people work in the graveyard, like what are they actually doing in terms of like their job?
They're definitely mowing the lawns.
Well, yeah, that. But other than that, what else are they doing? They're just mowing.
They're keeping up. Well, like some people come.
Is it security possibly?
Yeah, it is security. You definitely want to make sure nobody's in the graveyard doing shit they're not supposed to, like digging up somebody's grave or desecrating somebody's grave. So you definitely do play a security role.
Desecrating someone's grave.
Yeah.
Like what?
Like if you went into the graveyard and you saw somebody trying to take a shit on somebody's grave, like that's desecrating their grave. Spray painting somebody's grave.
Piss on their grave.
All of that is desecration. Yeah.
Piss on their grave and shit. So.
Egging somebody's grave, yeah.
Here's a question about graveyards, Davian. So, like, with all the human beings that have ever lived on this planet, like, apparently over 100 billion human beings have actually lived on this planet since, like, the day of our existence.
100 billion?
Huh?
100 billion?
100 billion.
Yeah.
When it comes to, like, actual graveyards and the size of it, what happens if a graveyard actually gets too big?
They'll build a new one.
But no, so they build a new one, but then after that, Davian, what happens after over the course of time in human history? Like, what happens to those graveyards? Do they still change? Because, like, are we kind of living on a graveyard right now?
I mean...
Like, are we kind of standing on one? Right now, to some degree?
I mean, if you're thinking that broadened that somebody could have died where we're standing, then...
They've been buried here.
Possibly, but not really.
Hold on a second.
The whole world is an unmarked grave. That's the scenario you're trying to set up. The whole world is an unmarked grave. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean though. So
yeah,
like,
but I wouldn't consider that a graveyard. I would just consider that the world that we live in.
Yeah, but
the whole world would encompass that. So
yeah, but like, what I'm
no
saying
space
is,
would be more particular than any other.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. So like the graveyards that we know now, like the graveyard that's near my house, that's a pretty big graveyard. So the question is that like, what happens to that graveyard at some point? Like, does that graveyard get like taken over by homes and like landscape or whatever it is over like 100 years, or does that stay the way it is?
I think graveyards occupy the space that they do, and that they don't get built over.
They don't get built over.
I would say they occupy the spaces they do for a reason. Like that plot is reserved for that.
But then what? But then what happens if that graveyard is maxed out, and then people that die in that town want to be buried in that town?
They would either do one of two things. I think the latter version of this option would be the better version. The latter version being get a new graveyard, because it would be a thing about plot space and knowing how many people you can efficiently fit into this area, and you want to be sure of like natural occurrences too. Like sometimes over here in this graveyard down the street, the area gets flooded sometimes, and you wouldn't want somebody's casket washing down the street.
Well, it's 6 feet under, so like it wouldn't rise out the ground.
I'm saying, but if, over time, say you experience rain and flooding, and you're terraforming the land over time, and it's thinning the maybe the surrounding walls around where the cemetery are. You don't know what may happen, or a tombstone might slide away. We never know where it went, type of thing. So it's like, depending on, because I'll say it like this as well. Cemeteries and having a plot in a cemetery or whatever is a privilege. Not everybody wants to be buried. Not everybody wants to be buried at a site. Not everybody has different conditions on where they want to be buried. Some people get whole mausoleums.
Yeah.
Some people just get cremated. Some people might get made back into a tree. I don't know what they plan on doing themselves. Somebody just get lost and we don't know where they are.
What do you plan on doing with yourself?
I've heard different options of what you can do. I'm always I always ponder about like the people who donate their body to science and what they be using the body for.
Gene splicing.
I hate the idea of my body getting used for science. I got this idea from my cousin Vanessa, but I hate the idea of my body getting used for science, and then helping out some white person who ain't shit.
So
same condition with like organ donor, because I'm an organ donor as well.
You're an organ donor?
Yeah, I'm an organ donor as well.
Why?
It's just the option. If I die, I don't need them.
Yeah, but Davian, the thing is, Davian, like one of the controversies is that if you have organ donor on your ID and you get into an accident, they might work less harder to save your life because they see that and they might want to take it.
See that I'm an organ donor? I don't think that would be unethical and they would lose their job for that.
Davian, but are there not unethical practices in the hospital every now and again?
Am I not saying that person would lose their job for that? Look, I can understand you saying they might see that I'm an organ donor and try less harder to save my life because they want to give my organ to somebody else.
Yeah.
This is the bullshit I'm talking about.
What you mean?
That's why I understand that I'm an organ donor, but that's the bullshit I'm talking about. What I'm skeptical about them using my body for purposes like that.
Yeah. I think I probably would want to be turned into a tree. Well, I might pull some dumbass Tupac shit and have y'all smoke my ashes in a joint.
I've smoked ashes before.
You have?
Yeah.
Of who?
I think I smoked Xavier's ashes.
Oh, he got cremated?
Um, did he get cremated? No, I think he got buried. Or no, what the hell happened to Xavier?
Well, dude,
Ashes did we smoke? We smoked light ashes. My bad.
but if you smoke his ashes, then like
We
that.
smoked light ashes.
I mean, light ashes.
We smoked Keon's ashes. My bad. Different person. Keon got cremated. We smoked his ashes.
So he got cremated. People say cremation is immoral.
Why?
Hmm?
Why would it be immoral?
Because you're not supposed to burn things.
Because I'm not supposed to burn things? Shut the hell up. Whoever said that shit to you or anybody, shut up. You're not supposed to burn things. That's why it's unethical.
Oh my god.
You have some nerve to be worried about the damn environment at a freaking funeral right now. Word is born. It's unethical to burn things.
Because apparently...
First of all, fire is a natural occurrence.
Apparently...
Don't think that we created, we discovered fire. We didn't create it.
We cultivated it.
Yes. So anything that burns is a natural process. Don't think, what? I can't believe somebody would do that. I can't believe somebody would say that. We're not supposed to burn stuff. Stuff burns on its own. That's nature. What? You're kidding me. No, what is born? Sometimes I just be listening to stuff and gotta listen to it and then repeat it back so that people understand what the frick you been talking about.
Oh my god.
Burning stuff is unethical. Stuff burns itself. Like,
no.
Tell it no.
It's more of like the idea of like burning a human body is not the right thing to do. It's disrespecting the body.
So tell that to the Vikings because they did that as a ceremony. Word is born. That was a ceremony for the Vikings.
For the witches they burned.
No, witches burning was not a ceremony of celebration.
It was an evil thing.
That was an evil practice. That was a completely different thing. Burning witches. No, Viking funerals.
Viking funerals.
Used to burn. They would take you and they would put you on a little boat, and they would send you off into the river, and someone would shoot a flaming arrow at you while you're on the river, and the boat would burn. They do that in a couple of different cultures, actually. I think they do it in samurai culture as well.
Samurai culture?
Mm-hmm.
In Japan?
Yeah.
That's a little wild.
They do that. Viking culture and samurai culture. They do that. That's a thing.
Now, here's the question. Let's get into morality. Is that objectively morally wrong, or is that culturally relative?
It's definitely culturally relative if certain cultures practice it. Thinking that it's ethical to burn somebody, you're literally turning somebody into ashes. That makes them easier to decompose. So how about that for the environment? Spread their ashes on a whole garden, make a whole new garden. How about that?
Well, apparently, when you get decomposed like whole, and you're not like ashes or whatever it is, apparently it's like you're feeding the microbes, the bugs, and all the other flora and fauna.
How about that? Where's the ball? If I just bury myself in the street,
no, but like that's why they say you shouldn't bury yourself because you're preventing the flora and fauna of the earth from feeding off of your body. Which sounds stupid, but whatever.
So that's why I shouldn't cremate myself.
Yeah,
Randall, they gotta make up their freaking minds now. They gotta make up their minds. Because now they don't want me to burn myself. They don't want me to burn myself because it's bad for the environment. But then they're also telling me to just throw myself in the ground because it's better for the ground.
You're basically fertilizing the soil or some shit like that.
These people eat too much plants. These people eat too much plants and want to be plants. They need to bury themselves in the ground and start asking themselves some questions.
They eat too much plants.
Word is born.
They eat too much plants.
Go out. Maybe you need to bury yourself in the ground. Get you some sunlight and some food, whatever. I don't know what plants are eating. Photosynthesis. But
they need sunlight.
Yeah, I know. It's a
process. What'd you say? I don't know.
Listen, because I know plenty of information about these damn plants. And no, That's just
So stupid.
that was yes. It was stupid. It was stupid. I'm glad we were able to break that down through words to analyze how little of sense that made. You can't win with people who want to save the environment. People who want to save the environment would just tell us to die. Essentially.
Well, some of them have actually.
Yes, I know. People who want to save the environment would just say humans need to go and die.
Which, Davian, makes you think to yourself, Davian, like they have no humanity even for themselves if they're concerned about the planet.
Exactly, Randall. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not a matter of
what about us? We live here too.
We live on the planet.
We live on this planet.
We are a part of the planet.
Yes, exactly. So you're not about to just make us. Don't get me wrong. We do a lot of messed up stuff to counteract the good we should be putting into this world, or to make it thrive at least. But getting rid of us is not the. We live here too. Like,
well, yeah, but it does make sense, period, David, because literally we are a product of the earth. So what's the purpose of us even doing that? Like, what is the purpose of us even attempting to try?